You'll have to forgive my appearance. I just got home. I was trying to rush home and race home just for the live today, and I quite literally took off my jacket, threw it over a chair, ran and made myself a sandwich, and grabbed a coffee and ran downstairs so I could record and respond to a couple of comments, which is great. I love that you guys are commenting. Like, it makes me feel like I'm doing something that is worthwhile and information that people want to know, which, yeah, I like to help people. After working in retail for so long in merch and as a manager, you're just kind of built to help people. And wow, the lighting is really bad down here. I'll have to figure out something eventually. I'm gonna do this scarf hat, toss it over there. But yeah, I was running around as I ran out of supplies yesterday. I was sewing all these really cute little red holiday springy kind of tops. Like, what I love, more kind of like talking about what we were discussing yesterday about holiday wear and how you should be able to wear it longer than just one day. Am I right? I've been creating pieces for my site, which I make and sell kids' clothes as well. And I've been making pieces that are holiday inspired, but you can wear them a lot longer. Like, this is what I've been working on last night, and I got more fabric today and more thread today because it just, like, it needed it. But I'll show you. And if anybody has a topic or anything that they want to discuss, just let me know. We'll be live, and maybe I'll work for a bit too, because Lord knows I need to catch up. But okay, so this little one, sorry, it's gonna be really awkward because I haven't done the back yet. I haven't put any seams or buttons. I'm still trying snaps or buttons, but oops, get a look. So it's like a double ruffle shorty top, and it's got the ruffle on the chest, and it's got a bit of a flare sleeve. I might take the flare out and make it more of a cap sleeve, because I've got a few more. Like, I've got one whole set cut, one full size run, and I'm gonna cut more. That's why I went out to get it. And then the back, I'm just gonna put snaps because I wanted it to be a little roomier, and I didn't want to overextend where the buttons are gonna go, because that would mean I would lose a lot of space in the garment. Like, I could have done a facing, but it's so lightweight. That's why I didn't want to do a facing, because I've already got one in the neckline. As you can see, and I just didn't want to add too much bulk, but I think I'm gonna have to line the next bunch because they are a little light, a little sheer. So these ones might be for the summertime or for the spring. Sorry, I'm just standing up. Oh, hello. You could tell it was just out. But maybe we could talk about construction today. So, like, looking for quality construction in your garments that you're going to purchase for your children. So that way, if you've got multiple kids your garments are going to go through, then you want to make sure that they are going to be sturdy enough to outlast. All right. And somebody, Lorraine, brought up a really great topic that I'm going to cover on Monday. So, baby sizing, infant sizing, children's sizing. It's gonna be a real sort of brain teaser. That's why I'm gonna take the weekend to prepare for that one, because it's crazy. Like, kid sizing is nuts. You've been warned. Like, even just finding size charts for myself. But I'm gonna cover that on Monday, and then brought up a topic on care. So, like, washing, stains, that kind of stuff. That'll be Tuesday. All right. So just letting you know a schedule. I'll try and do these every day, but take the weekend off so that spend family time. My daughter will be home from school, so I want to spend time with her. That's, you know, the whole reason for working at home, spend time with your family, right? So, construction. So just as an example for this one, and I'm not saying that anything is right or wrong, but I know what works for me as a sewer, and, you know, and from making clothes for years, and what to look for in garments that I know are going to last, okay? So, depending on the fabric, all right? So if you're getting something that's really high end, you'll have something that's called a French seam. So you typically they do that with fabrics that are very, very fine, lightweight, or slippery, because they don't want it to fray and they don't want to have to do it through a serger. So a serger is something that will encase. It's something that, oh, sorry, I'm getting used to where the camera is. That will encase the seam and keep it from fraying, all right? So this you typically see to finish off seams in a lot of garments. And it's really fast, it's cost efficient to do it, which is great. It saves you a lot of time, it saves you a lot of money. And we'll do this to save money, a lot of pieces all at once. Sorry, tickle in my throat. But that's pretty normal. Oh my god, this light is killing me. I've got like fluorescent light there, I've got another light there, but if I turn the lights off, and it's gonna be like a cave down here because I'm in the basement. But so the serging, you'll typically see, they will do it on wovens, they'll do it on knitwear a lot of times, like your t-shirts, your sweatpants, you'll see that, or you'll see like a cover stitch, but that's typically to finish off the bottom of a seam. So show you my t-shirt. Now this one is, oh, that's not a cover stitch. Yeah, this one's a cover stitch. So it's a little hard to see, but you'll get 2 rows of stitches, and then it'll look like the serging stitch underneath, and that's just to encase all the raw edges and finish off. And that's typically for hems, for cuffs, anything that they want to like flat seam and fully close off, they'll do that, all right? So those are cheaper methods for producing clothes, and you typically see them on knitwear because knitwear is, it's so easy and it's so cheap to just get out the door. Like, they just cut it, sew it, gone. Like, putting together a t-shirt or a pair of leggings takes you like no time at all, but doing a nice woven, it takes time, and there's going to be a lot more finishing. So back to finishing, you want to look at facings. So a facing is usually if you've got a garment that, say, at the neckline or at the back, all right, or even in a jacket. So that part underneath is usually the facing, okay? And so that's going to make a nice clean edge. It's going to encase all the raw edges as well, and it's usually top stitched. So you see that little line of stitching, and that will help hold the facing down and keep it from rolling. So you want to pay attention to something like that. So making sure that it's top stitch, that it's all seamed down, and even better if the facing has been tacked. Okay, there's a few ways to finish facings. Like sometimes if it's a really fine fabric and I don't want to stitch on top because I have a detail on the front, like the ruffles, I'm not going to stitch all the way down the facing. All right, I'm going to tack it. So I'm just going to take a needle and thread and just do a little stitch there and a couple little stitches there, and that'll hold it all down. Whereas something, excuse me for a second, I know I'm terrible, just reach right across. Something like this, I don't know if you can see, that's stitched down and there's a facing on the other side, all right? Now, with the edges too, like you'll find more often than not, they will be serged. Sometimes they will use another piece of fabric called bias tape, and they'll put that along the edge, and that's usually more expensive to do because it does take a lot more time and require more accuracy, more attention to detail. Okay, and so you'll notice the differences once you start looking at the quality of the garments, especially when you're shopping. You will notice these things, and you will just, your eyes will be peeled everywhere you go. Like, I cannot go into a store and just buy a shirt. Like, I look at everything, and it's it gives me anxiety half the time. Because I'm like, I can't buy this. Oh my god, I just need a pair of pants. Like, how am I gonna get out of the store? But yeah, it makes you a little crazy. Hemming is another thing. So there's a million different ways to hem, right? So you can just, like, there's a few different ways. There's like the cheap way, the fast way, the nice looking way, Like, everybody's got a different method, and sorry, I'm just going because I have a rolling rack just here. I'm just grabbing stuff, so I apologize if you see me reaching over. So this is one way, and I see this typically of a lot of home sewers, and I do it too all the time because it's just so fast. It's really efficient, and you can get a nice, accurate, level, well, even hem. Some people just like to hand stitch, but this is fast, and it still looks really nice and clean. So on this dress, you can see that's just one nice stitch, sorry. But on the underside, the edge was serged, okay, and then folded over and measured and pressed and then top stitched down. All right. So it's still all finished, and it's a decent finishing, like it's a good finishing. It's also cost efficient, time efficient. Sorry guys, my phone is being weird. I'm recording this on an iPhone. All of a sudden it asked me for my passcode. It's like, what's up with that? Pardon me. But as for that kind of finish, it's super efficient. It still holds really well. You don't have to worry about fraying, which is great. A lot of hand finishes, like I love hand finishing garments. It is time consuming. So when you see something that's looks like a whip stitch underneath, like it's a longer stitch, and so you'll see some of it hidden, some of it tacked on top a little bit, that typically is a bit more of an expensive finish. And that is something you really want to be careful when you're washing. And they typically do that for fabrics that sometimes are a little heavier, have more detail on them. Sometimes a little finer, it depends. Like, it's harder to hide that kind of stitch on a finer fabric. I've always found it easy to hide it on a bulkier fabric, especially like a jacket. Like, there's quite a few jackets that I've made where I've been able to do that. Oh, rolled hem. So, see this, the same top stitch, but it's been folded under, and that's another really common kind of finish. So the raw edge is fully encased in the fabric, and with that, it can be time consuming. Some people press it out, like they fully iron it out and then do it. That's great, and I'm able to roll it as I go with my hands because I'm really good at eyeballing it, and I measure on my sewing machine as I'm doing it. Other people have certain tools for their machine, like a certain presser foot. And if you don't know what a presser foot is, hold on. I know, I'm just like Miss Rolly here. Something like that, okay? And so that goes on your machine, and that just feeds the fabric through and it rolls it for you. This one, unfortunately, is like super tiny. I have no idea how to use it because I shoved the fabric in there, and it's like, I'm faster just to do it this way. Maybe one day I will get there, but I've never been able to rely on this kind of stuff. Like, I'm used to using industrial machines. Where, let me just turn off this light. This guy right behind me is a domestic. It's a Janome. Janome? I'm not sure. But it's a great machine. I'm just not used to using a domestic. I'm used to the big table-based one stitch kind of machines. But yeah. What else can I tell you about details and looking for clothes? Because quality is always like the one thing that you really want to look for. Pardon me. I've been running, so it's like my breath is a little wheezy. Also, fabric quality. So I know for myself, when I go, there's a lot of different fabrics that I really love it, but I know it's gonna pill. And you have to look at the weave of the fabric. Is it a loose weave? Is it a tight weave? Is there a sheen to it? And I should make another video just to go through all of that, because that in itself is a whole different conversation that could take a long time. And I'm pretty sure it would bore you silly. Some people. Other people might be completely into it. Some people not so much. But I love to use, myself, woven cottons, because I know how they're, like, I know as I pre-shrink everything before I sew it, I pre-shrink even clothes I buy for my daughter, just so I know how much shrinkage there's going to be. And I don't recommend that for everybody. It's just I do that myself just so that I know, and that if I'm giving a garment, selling a garment to somebody, I know they're not going to have a problem down the line. Like, I'll wash it in hot water. And I know I told you guys I'll wash everything in cool water, and that's what you should still continue doing. But if you're making garments, before you ever cut a single thing, you want to pre-wash in warm to hot water, and tumble dry if necessary, or hang to dry. But you want to make sure that it's pre-shrunk before you ever cut, because if you wash it after you've sewn that garment, it's going to fit a lot differently. Like, you don't even know. It might be anywhere from a couple centimeters to a whole lot of centimeters, okay? So that, just keeping a handle on that. And I'm trying to figure out what else. We talked about hems. See, I did not prepare because I just got home. Excuses, right? Cat, what are you doing? I swear this cat's like a menace to society. Oh, the interiors of the clothing. All right. So anytime that you have like a button placket, so you know how you buy a shirt and it buttons up at the front, or you get a zipper and it's a really fine fabric at the back and zipping it up, and facings, anything like that, you want to make sure that they have interfacing on it, okay? Some kind of fuse, something to stabilize that area of the garment, because it's going to get a lot of wear and tear. So here's some iron-on interfacing. There's sew-in as well, but you'll most often find that, where, as I said before, like on the interior facings. Okay, do I have a jacket down here I can show you? I don't think I do. Men's shirts, you'll find them on the button placket, in the collars. The ladies' shirts, you'll find it there too. Right where the zipper is, typically there should be something, all right? And a lot of the times I find there isn't, and that's why when you buy a dress, you buy a skirt, and you notice that over time the zipper tends to get a little wavy or tends to misalign a little bit, is because there's nothing there to support the zipper and support that action of pulling it up and down. So you want to make sure that there's something back there to reinforce. So see, here's some fused tape right behind where the zipper is. So next time you go to look at something that has a zipper in it, just see if you can flip that over a little bit and see if there's a little contrasting fabric that looks like a fuse. It's usually like a webbing itself. Look for that, okay? And you'll find that in cuffs a lot of the time too, especially on nicer dress shirts. You'll find it in the collar band, and the collar band sits right below the collar itself. Where do I have another shirt? Probably not. I know I'm grabbing a whole bunch of random stuff. But that is something that you really want to keep an eye for of your garment. And just making sure that even your zippers too, like that they're top stitched down. Like that makes a huge difference, because that keeps everything from pulling away. Like, they're not all cases when that needs to happen. Like invisible zippers, you're not going to need to do that. It's stable enough, especially if it's been fused in the back, that it should be fine. But for an inset zipper, like just a regular zipper, you want to make sure that there's at least a line of stitching right there to make sure that everything's secure and it's not going to pull away too much, all right? Because if you go looking and you just test it out yourself, especially if you go to stores like fast fashion stores, oh my gosh, I'm so pale, and it's like, I've got fluorescent lighting overhead, and now I look like Casper. Oh my god. All right, but you'll see it. Like, you for sure will see it. I don't even know if I have anything. I don't think I do. Or no, I don't. I'm too crazy about that kind of stuff. The other thing is too, details. So if you got something that has embroidery on it, And I'm just gonna take you guys, or any kind of applique. So for like this guy here, this is backed with a fuse on the back to give it strength. All right. Sorry. Oh, oh yeah, see, there's some bias trim in there, but the trim. How do I keep losing my connection? My house is terrible for Wi-Fi. You're getting a lovely view of my nose, but you want to. I'm just gonna go find something in my daughter's room. That'll be the perfect example. And the cat is like going nuts downstairs, so give him less of an incentive to make a bum of himself. But usually if you see something that has embroidery or sequins on it, sorry it's kind of dark, I keep all the lights off upstairs when nobody's home. And just because I said nobody's home, don't even think that's an opportunity to swap me. I'm kidding. All right, hold on. Aha, here we go. She's always like, why did you go in my room, Mom? Every time. But the back, there's a webbing. Okay, so you can't really see it, but normally it's like a tearaway webbing. And you want that on the back so that it gives more support to the detail on the front. So that way the fabric doesn't rip or pull or anything, and everything is nice and intact. Yeah. Which I'm gonna try and fold this back up, put it in her closet, one-handed. Let's see if she notices. This is how we used to work, putting stuff away in the stockroom. Except not one-handed, it was like two-handed. It's like, forget a folding board. Okay. Oh, no, that's terrible. All right, she's very particular about her clothes. It's really funny, and I think that's because I am. So she notices this stuff. Oh, I can show you the jacket maybe if it's still in here. Oh, is it? Did I put? Oh, it is here. Is this the one? Nah, that's not the one. Oh, but I'll show it to you anyways, because it's helpful, okay? So, can I switch this around? Ooh, I can. Nice. All right. You'll have to forgive me. This whole live thing is new to me. But, so with a jacket. Now, this is just a little lightweight summer jacket, all right? So, it's not lined. Typically, I would line a jacket, but this is just for summer. All right? It would attach to that facing, all right? And then it would attach to the hem. And the hem, so it was serged, but I hand tacked it all the way because I didn't want to mess too much with the fabric on the other side because it's really fine linen, cotton, silk combination, and I didn't want to ruin the line of or the texture of the garment, because I just noticed that when I top stitched somewhere else, it just wasn't looking the way I wanted it to look. But typically, like if you see serging in a jacket, that means, like I made this quickly for her. Normally I would have done a bias tape on the seam, and that is usually more expensive to do. And it does look really nice. The serging is a cheaper way to finish, especially for a summer jacket, and lining is actually a super cheap way. So more often than not, if you see a jacket and it's lined, it was cheaper to make than one to do that was just taped on the seams. So remember that bias tape I showed you on that little black blouse? That takes a bit longer and more care to do than anything else. Sorry, I was doing this one-handed. Whoa. All right. Do I have something? I'm just checking. Some of the stuff she hasn't worn in a long time too. Which we gotta go through. All right. Yeah, she's got a lot of clothes. That's what happens when you make clothes too. You just end up making one or two for the kid as well. All right, switch back around. Oh, Sorry. And the cat is now in this room. He's gonna like be into everything. But I'll get him later. Meow. Psst, 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 psst. Is he coming? No, he's not coming. He's like, screw you, Mom. I'm in the forbidden place. He goes in there and he goes in all the toys and it drives her crazy. She's like, what is he doing in my room? Meanwhile, she wants him to like go in her room and sleep there at night. But he's just an absolute menace. Okay, wait a minute. He's one of those cats that's into everything. Because he doesn't want to miss out. Hi! There he is. You say hello? Yeah. All right. One-handed, yet again. Oh my God. All right. All right. Here, Bratsky. Come here. There you go. All right. There we go. I got him out. Okay. This rug is never straight. Light off. Door closed. Okay. I do have to get back to work eventually. See, I just threw my jacket and I ran. Okay. So, yeah. That was about it. Just trying to think of any other tips that I got as I head back down to the dungeon. But if you guys have any other questions, any other comments, any other topics you would like me to cover, let me know, okay? So, I think that was it for today. I don't know how long I went for today, but next week I'm going to be prepared and we will cover those two topics that Lorraine brought up. Oh my God, this light. Oh my God, you guys are seeing my whole messy basement. So sorry. But yeah, I'll work on those topics this weekend and we will go over them. And hopefully some of it helps. Hopefully some of what I've said today helps a little bit, especially when you're thinking about making purchases. And maybe I will also do a shopping video next week as well. So I know I have some running around to do, so maybe I'll do a live while I'm out and about, as long as I'll try not to get in trouble and kicked out of place. We used to do it all the time too. I used to work for a few different clothing companies and as manager and merchandising. And more often than not, like, you would get in trouble, like people would get in trouble for filming in stores. And you have to be very covert about how you do it because it's seen as being an LP issue. And I was about to sign off and now I'm going into this whole tangent, but if you are a YouTuber and you are going out into stores, just be aware that store staff, store security sees you and they see it as an LP issue because it's happened in the past where people will case out joints. So that way they can monitor what the foot traffic is like, what the staff are like, if they're attentive, if they're not attentive, if there's any blind spots in the store, that kind of stuff. So that's why they don't like people filming in stores, and also too, just for other customers' comfort levels, because, you know, not everybody's going to want to be filmed and not everybody is as careful or nice about it, I guess you could say. But yeah, so if I do try and do something like that, I'm going to be very on the down low and try not to show other people and just be aware of my space. Probably just have to ask. Maybe I'll go somewhere I used to work and talk to a few people there and see what they say, because that might work. I just have to see if they're in at that time. Oh, I digress. We'll get back to that on another day. But anyways, I hope you have a great lunch and I will talk to you on Monday. Bye guys. I can figure out this pause button. Oh my God. It's like every time. Oh, stop. There we go.